Terrible changes coming to cruises. In 2026, your favorite cruise in 2026 could look exactly the same as last year and still cost you a few $100s more. Not because you went wild with spending, but because the rules quietly changed. Cruise lines are shaking up almost everything. New loyalty systems, fresh little add-on fees, and a very different idea of what still counts as included in your fare. The kind of changes you only notice when you are already on board and the bill shows up. Welcome to Quick Cruise Tips. If you have been here before, welcome back. I honestly cannot remember another year where so many big changes hit at once. Some of them are already rolling out, others are coming over the next few months, and the rest will really kick in during 2026. Depending on how you cruise, a few of these updates will hurt, and a few might actually help you. Either way, stick with me to the end, because they can completely change how you pick ships, itineraries, and even cabin types. Before we dive in, if this video helps you feel more ready for your next sailing, tap like. And if you have not joined the Quick Cruise Tips community yet, hit subscribe so you do not miss the next round of cruise tricks and updates. Let us start with the one change that can quietly mess with the value of your loyalty card. Cruise lines are not just raising prices. In 2026, they are rewiring how your nights at sea turn into perks, points, and status. Depending on which line you love, that could mean faster rewards or a much slower climb. The good news first. Royal Caribbean Group is about to make loyal cruisers' lives a lot easier. They've announced a new system called Points Choice. In simple terms, you can sail on any brand in the Royal Caribbean family and still build status in the program you care about most. One pool of effort instead of 3 separate ladders. Maybe you are high up in Crown and Anchor with Royal Caribbean, but you want to try Celebrity or Silversa without feeling like you are cheating on your status. Under Points Choice, the nights and spend from that Celebrity sailing can still count toward your Royal Caribbean Crown and Anchor account. It also works the other way. If Celebrity is your go-to line but you book Royal Caribbean for a big multi-generational trip with kids and grandkids, those nights can still feed your Captain's Club status instead of sitting in a separate corner doing nothing. For the last year or so, Royal Caribbean Group has tweaked benefits here and there, but nothing this flexible. For the first time, the loyalty programs across the group actually feel connected instead of like distant cousins who never talk. There is one catch. These benefits only apply to cruises that sail after the new system launches in early 2026. Anything you have already sailed still follows the old rules. Now, I am curious where you stand. Does this kind of shared status make you more willing to hop between Royal, Celebrity, and Silversea? Or do you still prefer to stay married to one brand? Tell me in the comments once you finish the video, because the next change we are about to talk about is a lot more controversial. We have seen how Royal Caribbean is trying to make loyalty feel more connected. Carnival is going in a very different direction. Now we get to Carnival, and this is where the rules really change. Carnival is retiring its long-running VIFP loyalty program and replacing it with a new system called Carnival Rewards, launching on September 2026. The headline change is simple. In the old world, your status was mostly based on how many nights you spent on a Carnival ship. In the new world, your status will be based on both how long you sail and how much you spend. The new program will track the cruise fare you pay and the money you spend on board. From that, you will earn stars that decide your tier level and points that you can redeem for things like onboard credit or discounts. So your cabin choice, your bar bill, your specialty dining, and your extras all matter more than they used to in the loyalty equation. Some guests like this idea because it gives them more ways to earn. If they already book higher categories and spend freely on board, their spending now translates into faster rewards instead of just being a big number on the final bill. Others are more cautious, especially people who rely on short cruises, sail fares, and strict budgets. For them, the path to the same status level may feel longer than before. Carnival is keeping one important protection for existing loyal guests. If you are Platinum or Diamond under the current VIFP program, you will keep that status until the new system goes live. Anyone who reaches Diamond before June 2026 will also be granted Diamond for life under Carnival rewards. So the core policy shift at Carnival is this. Your loyalty is no longer measured mostly by time at sea. From 2026 onward, it is a combination of nights and dollars. And every booking decision you make will count toward that new balance. Are you loyal to one cruise line? Or do you mix it up? I am honestly curious how you feel about these loyalty programs. Personally, I do not stay with just one brand. I like to hop around a little, depending on itinerary, price, and the kind of experience I want, so I would love to know which type of cruiser you are. That wraps up the loyalty perks for now. Next, we are going to look at something a lot less fun to talk about, the new fees and extra charges that can make your 2026 cruises more expensive. You might think you know what your cruise costs when you pay the final balance. In 2026, that is exactly where the surprises start. Now we are moving into the less fun part, new fees and extra charges that quietly push your total bill higher. Cruise lines still love to say that so much is included in your fare, and compared to many land trips, that is still true. But more and more little add-ons are slipping in around the edges, and together they can make the same week at sea noticeably more expensive than it used to be. On Norwegian now, even your second steak comes with a price tag. Norwegian Cruise Line has started charging $5 when you order an extra main course in the main dining room or in restaurants that used to be fully included. The first entree is part of your fare. The second one now triggers that extra charge? They are not alone. MSC has a very similar policy. Carnival is close too, although there you can still order 2 main dishes without any fee. The $5 charge only shows up if you decide to go for a third. You are not going to go hungry. You can still ask for as many appetizers and desserts as you like, and there are plenty of casual spots and the buffet if you want more food. Norwegian says this change is about cutting down on food waste because too many big plates were going back to the kitchen, barely touched. What many cruisers feel, though, is something different. It is one more tiny charge that did not exist before. Something that used to be quietly included is now carved out and billed on its own, and that shift from "of course it is free" to "now it costs $5" is exactly what people notice. We have talked about dinner plates. Now let us talk about drinks, because Norwegian has made another change that hits a lot of people right in their beach day. Picture this. You step off the ship on Norwegian's private island, already planning your first frozen drink, and then find out your drink package stayed on board. Norwegian has changed how beverages work at Great Stirrup Cay. The bev package you bought for the ship no longer covers your drinks on the island. Instead, there is a separate drink package just for Great Stirrup Cay, or you pay for each drink as you go. The good news is you are not being charged just to stay hydrated. Food on the island is still included, and you still get basic drinks like water, lemonade, and iced tea at no extra cost. Where your wallet feels it is everything beyond that. Cocktails, beer, specialty coffees, bottled water, and canned drinks all become extra charges for the day unless you buy the separate island package. The more time you spend at the bar or on a lounger with a drink in hand, the more this quiet little change shows up on your final bill. Back in your cabin, there is another change waiting. If you still think of room service as that cozy free treat at sea, Norwegian is about to correct you. Most big cruise lines still offer some version of complimentary continental breakfast to your cabin in the morning. Some of the more upscale lines even include room service all day or at least into the evening. Norwegian has moved away from that. Breakfast delivery now carries a fee of $4.95. During the rest of the day, a room service delivery runs about $9.95 per order. And it is not just the fees. Norwegian has also started limiting how much you can order at once. Recent guests report that at breakfast, each person can choose one hot item and one cold item per delivery. During the rest of the day, each room service order can include 2 hot dishes under that single delivery charge. so you pay for the service and you can no longer stack a huge tray of food for the whole morning in one go. If you want more than that, you are placing another order and working within those tighter limits instead of the old pile it on and stay in your pajamas style of room service. If you are a parent who loves sneaking out for a late dinner while the kids live their best life in the club, this one is for you. On Royal Caribbean, daytime kids clubs are still included in your cruise fare. The problem starts when the sun goes down. The late night sessions, like Adventure Ocean from 10 at night to 1 in the morning, now cost $15 an hour for each child. The old rate was $10 an hour. To put that in perspective, when I first took my kids on Royal Caribbean back in 2005, the late night fee was around $6 an hour. So yes, $15 today is not completely crazy once you factor in inflation, but it adds up fast. 3 hours on one night with 2 kids is already $90. Spread that across a few evenings and you are looking at a serious extra line on your bill. If you are cruising with little ones and you know they will want the late night games and parties, or you and your partner want a few grown-up evenings, build this into your budget from the start. It feels a lot better when it is planned money than when it shows up as a surprise at the end of the cruise. And that is not the only brand quietly rewriting what included really means. If you fell in love with Virgin Voyages because you could pay once and forget about tipping, this part is gonna sting a little. Virgin used to be the simple one. Your fare, wrapped in Wi-Fi, basic soft drinks, all those specialty style restaurants, and the daily crew tips. No envelopes, no guessing, no extra math at the end of the night. Now the tips have been pulled out of that bundle and put on their own line. Crew gratuities are $20 per person per day if you pay before you sail, or $22 per person per day if you settle them on board. On a 7-night cruise, that is roughly $140 to $150 per person you need to add back into your budget. To be fair, the base cruise price itself has not suddenly jumped just because of this. Virgin has mostly sliced the tip portion out of the all-inclusive package and made it visible. But for a lot of sailors, the magic of Virgin was exactly that feeling of no tips, no guessing, no surprises. Now that feeling is gone, even if the math is technically the same. On top of pulling tips out of the bundle, Virgin is also changing the way you buy the cruise in the first place. Virgin's new Voyage Fare Choices system takes that old one simple all-in price and breaks it into 3 tiers. Starting in October 2025, you will pick not just a cabin, but a level of flexibility and perks. The base option is the cheapest. You still get standard Wi-Fi, the included restaurants and the shows, but you give up some flexibility. Your change and cancellation rules are tighter, and you are not first in line when it comes to reservations. Essential sits in the middle. Think of it as the comfortable tier. Faster Wi-Fi, earlier access to book dinner times online, and a bit more breathing room if your plans change. Premium is the top shelf. This is where you find the best Wi-Fi priority for restaurant bookings, more onboard credit, and the softest rules if you need to move or cancel your trip. Virgin says this makes pricing clearer and easier to compare with other lines. In reality, it means you have to read the details much more carefully. You need to know when you can actually book dining, how fast your Wi-Fi will be, and what happens to your money if life gets in the way. I used to love Virgin because you could book it and stop thinking. With this new setup, even I have to slow down and double check what each tier really includes. I would love to know how it feels from your side if you have already booked under Voyage Fare Choices. Fares can look pretty friendly for 2026. The problem is hiding in the line that says taxes and fees. Across the board, ports and destinations are raising their own charges, and those get passed straight to you. Most of the time, the increases are small enough that people skim right past them. Hawaii is the big exception. Starting January 1st, 2026, Hawaii is rolling out a new tax that hits cruise passengers directly. It is roughly 14% on the portion of your fare that covers the days your ship is in Hawaiian ports. Lines like Norwegian and Disney are already warning guests to expect an extra charge, anywhere from around $50 to as high as $500 per person, depending on the itinerary and how many Hawaii days are included. On paper, the money is earmarked for environmental programs and tourism management. In practice, it is one of the largest new travel taxes cruise passengers have seen in years. It is big enough that the Maine Cruise Industry Association has taken Hawaii to federal court, arguing that the structure might clash with United States maritime law. Nobody knows yet whether the tax will stay as is, be changed, or be struck down. What you can do right now is simple. If you already have a Hawaii cruise booked in 2026, expect the total to move and leave some budget space. If you are still thinking about booking Hawaii, build this extra layer into your planning from day one so it is not a nasty surprise later. Hawaii is the big shock, but it is not the only place quietly inflating your bill. In Mexico, a visitor tax for non-residents that came in during 2025 is increasing in 2026. On most sailings, it works out to about $5 to $10 per person, depending on the port, and you will not see it broken out. It is already baked into the taxes and fees section of your fare. In Greece, cruise passengers now pay a per-person charge in each port. The amount changes with the season. In summer, it is around €20 per person. In winter, it drops to about €4. On a port-heavy Greek itinerary, that can add up quickly. In Amsterdam, there is a daily tax on visitors that also applies to cruise guests. For most itineraries, it falls somewhere between €11 and €14 per person for each day the ship is docked. In the United States Virgin Islands, port fees for cruise passengers are rising by roughly $3 per person. Individually, none of these numbers look scary. String them across a long cruise with lots of stops, especially for a bigger family, and they quietly turn into a noticeable extra slice of your total cost. The prettiest stops on your itinerary might also be the most expensive days of your cruise. Cruise lines are pouring serious money into private islands and exclusive beach clubs. For us, as passengers, that usually means gorgeous beaches, shiny new pools, upgraded food and bars, and a lot of wow moments. The other side of the story is simple. Those upgrades are not free. Let us start with Norwegian's Great Stirrup Cay. By summer 2026, Norwegian plans to open a huge new water park on the island, around 6 acres of slides and pools. Think 19 water slides, a lazy river to float around all afternoon, and new bars and dining areas built for full beach days. On top of that, they are adding a new pier and tender area expected to be finished before the end of this year. If you hate lining up for small tender boats just to get to the sand, that part is genuinely great news. Getting on and off the island should be faster and a lot less stressful. But there is a catch we already talked about. From the 1st of March 2026, your shipboard drink package, like the BAV package or Marathi, no longer works on the island. You still get food included and basic drinks like water, iced tea, and lemonade for free, but anything beyond that becomes extra. Cocktails, beer, specialty drinks, and bottled water all come out of your pocket or require a separate island drink package. The more time you spend in that beautiful new water park, the more you will feel that change. Now over to Royal Caribbean and its new Royal Beach Clubs. These are not full private islands. They are dedicated, premium beach areas, built and run by Royal Caribbean, where you need a day pass to get in. Picture an upscale beach club, or a full-day shore excursion with pools, private beach space, upgraded food, and bars, all in one place. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island in Nassau, Bahamas, will be the first to open. If you have sailed into Nassau recently, you have probably seen the construction right across from the main port. Guests will buy day passes, and current information puts the price around $170 per person for an all-inclusive style experience with food and many drinks folded in. Next is Royal Beach Club, Santorini in Greece, planned for summer 2026. Day passes are already showing up on Royal Caribbean's site. Reports say adult prices are around $280, with promotions bringing some dates closer to $200. Children are welcome and pay less than adults, but for a family, it is still a serious spend for a single day. A third Royal Beach Club is set for the west coast of Mexico toward the end of 2026, along a stretch of coastline that should be absolutely beautiful once it is built out. There is no doubt these places will look incredible in photos. Infinity pools, curated cocktails, private loungers, and cleaner, quieter spaces than a regular public beach. The big question is whether that experience is worth the extra hundreds of dollars on top of what you already paid just to be on the ship. For a special occasion trip or an anniversary cruise, paying for a Royal Beach Club or a full water park day on Great Stirrup Cay might feel perfect. For a larger family trying to keep the overall budget under control, skipping those exclusive options and choosing a more basic shore day might be the smarter move. I would love to know where you land on this. Do you like the idea of cruise lines building more of these private-style beach clubs? Or does it feel like one more way to upsell you once you are on board? And would you personally pay that day pass fee to get in? Or would you rather spend that money somewhere else on your cruise? Tell me in the comments. Cruising in 2026 is not ruined, but it is definitely changing. If this breakdown helped you feel more ready for those new rules and hidden costs, hit like so other cruisers see it too. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you want more no-fluff cruise advice. And tell me in the comments which change you hate the most and which one you think you can actually use to your advantage.